Kids are just going to spread it to like their whole class.
Students are back in school, and already problems are popping up. Laura Meerdens has two elementary students in Southeast Portland. She says her first grade son has already contracted COVID this year. In his class, 15 students have already gotten sick and spread it to their family members.
Over 30 people have COVID just from a class outbreak.
This school year, PPS advises students to stay home if they have symptoms, but they don't require parents to report if their students test positive. Kids also don't need to isolate for a set number of days. Beaverton has implemented a similar policy, different to CDC guidelines.
I mean, basically with this policy, almost every child at a PPS school is going to get COVID.
Substitute teachers say in many classrooms, safety measures don't work.
Many air purifiers are not working in classrooms, or they're just not being turned on.
Not being turned on, while the CDC continues to urge people to stay home for at least 5 days after testing positive. From the beginning of 2022 to this past June, the CDC says half of children who died from COVID didn't have underlying conditions. Almost a quarter of kids in ICU with COVID didn't either. Last year, Meerdens says PPS followed CDC guidelines. The change has been confusing.
So last year, the policy was like the CDC policy where you stay home for 5 days and then you come back for days 6 to 10 with a mask. And a lot of parents, I think, thought that it was still like that, but it's not.
PPS says they're following Oregon Health Authority guidance instead. Each school has a plan if an outbreak occurs, and they say the Multnomah Education Service District will investigate any outbreaks. But parents remain worried.
The thought of kids just being reinfected again and again and again is obviously a terrible idea. And we need to do something to stop it.
Terrified that long COVID could become an issue for many students, and those teachers too say it's not uncommon to see many students missing from classrooms daily. Now, it's important to note PPS says their safety measures like air purifiers are all working. Ashley?
All right, Thomas, thank you. The Oregon Health Authority is still tracking COVID cases around the state. This table shows the number of COVID tests turning out positive. By the end of last week, just over 15% of the tests were positive. That is up 6.6% since the end of July. So